It is our honor to have Ms. Diane Wong, Undersecretary for Environment and Ecology, Hong Kong SAR, to deliver her keynote speech. Ms. Wong, please.
Kelvin, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is a great pleasure for me to join today's conference on stock-taking Hong Kong's climate action, business progress, barriers, and accelerators. It is indeed timely to provide an update on where we stand before two important items, namely the strategy of hydrogen development in Hong Kong and development of waste-to-energy incinerators, including the integrated waste management facilities at the EA panel in next month. Hong Kong's targets and 4 decarbonization strategies. In Hong Kong, our target is to achieve carbon neutrality before 2050. To tackle our major emission sources, including electricity generation, transport and waste disposal, we have set out our strategies and actions in moving towards carbon neutrality in Hong Kong's Climate Action Plan 2050. With progress made on various fronts, Hong Kong has reached its carbon peak in 2014, and our per capita carbon emission has been reduced to 4.55 tons a year by 2022, which is a quarter below the value in 2014, namely 6.11 tons. Our latest per capita carbon emissions compares favorably with those of Singapore, 9.8, Washington, D.C., 9.1, New York, 6.4, Toronto, 5.2, and on par with that of Tokyo, 4.33. Driving sectoral decarbonization. Building on a steady decline in Hong Kong's carbon emissions, we will continue to implement strategic measures and collaborate with every sector in society. The business sector, in particular, holds a crucial position in climate action as they have the leadership and entrepreneurship necessary to drive material and meaningful change, as well as corporate social responsibility to contribute to sustainable development of society. Since the establishment of the Climate Office in January 2023, we have been taking forward the Hong Kong Climate Action Plan 2050, reaching out to local businesses and other stakeholders. Through various communication platforms, we have been encouraging the business sector to take proactive action to address climate risks associated with their business models and operations. These risks encompass not only the physical risks to their operations, but also the transition risks linked to the global shift towards a low-carbon economy. Moreover, the Council for Sustainable Development has been reorganized to become the new Council for Carbon Neutrality and Sustainable Development to offer advice on the decarbonization strategies and promote participation by different sectors of the community. We look forward to partnering with you and gaining your support as we embark on Hong Kong's decarbonization journey. COP28. There were heated debates regarding energy transition at COP28 held in 2023. The agreement reached ultimately signaled the beginning of the end of the fossil fuel era, involving acceleration of efforts towards the phasing down of unabated coal power and the transition away from fossil fuels in the energy system. This resonates with our 4 core strategies set out under the Hong Kong Climate Action Plan 2050, namely net zero electricity generation, energy saving and green buildings, green transport, and waste reduction. Net zero electricity generation. Hong Kong made a major takeoff in its energy transition journey in 1997 by stopping the building of new coal-fired power plants. More recently, the share of coal in our fuel mix has been reducing from around half in 2015 to about a quarter currently. Looking forward, Hong Kong will cease the daily use of our remaining coal-fired power generation units by 2035. We are expecting to see a further increase in our share of zero-carbon electricity from the current 25% to around 35% by 2025, when the enhancement works of our current cross-border electricity transmission infrastructure would be completed. Apart from regional collaboration, we have also been exploring wider application of renewable and new energy in Hong Kong. Taking solar power generation as an example, we are planning a major floating solar power plant on one of the major reservoirs, Plover Cove, in Hong Kong. We have been supporting and encouraging the private sector to invest and use renewable energy and work together in achieving carbon neutrality. Energy saving and green buildings. In the course of decarbonizing our electricity, we must also work on energy savings and promoting green building design so as to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions from the demand side. Our goal is to reduce electricity consumption in commercial buildings by 30% to 40% by 2050, and that of residential buildings by 20% to 30% from the 2015 level, and to achieve half of these targets by 2035. We have been taking forward various initiatives to drive low-carbon transition in the building sectors. One notable example is the continuous review of the energy efficiency standards for buildings, together with the expansion of the mandatory energy efficiency labeling scheme. In addition, the implementation of the district cooling system at Kai Tak Development, which centralizes cooling production and distribution, would lead to significant energy conservation. Green transport. One of the major bus companies has introduced the first hydrogen double-deck bus to its fleet in Hong Kong. The government will also launch a trial run of hydrogen street washing vehicles when the first hydrogen refueling station is put into operation within 2024. Under the electrification of public transport and commercial vehicles, we plan to introduce 700 e-buses and 3,000 e-taxis on the road and install 2 million parking spaces with charging infrastructure before end 2027. By 2035, we will phase out the new registration of fuel-propelled and hybrid private cars with a view to attaining zero carbon vehicular emission by 2050. On waste reduction, the first phase regulation of disposal plastic tableware and other plastic products commenced in April 2024. We also consulted LegCo on the producer responsibility scheme, which would encompass, amongst others, plastic beverage containers and beverage cartons. In addition, we are actively developing advanced waste-to-energy facilities, with the first integrated waste management facility, IPAC 1, to be completed by 2025. Under the Waste Blueprint for Hong Kong 2035, the medium-term goal is to reduce per capita waste disposal rate to about 40% to 45% and increase the recovery rate to 55%, while the long-term goal is to move away from reliance on landfills for waste disposal by around 2035 and achieve carbon neutrality in waste management before 2050. On hydrogen development, as a secondary carrier of energy, hydrogen is one of the highly regarded new energy sources around the world in pursuance of achieving carbon neutrality. Technological advancement over time could help drive down costs and enhance energy efficiency, thus accelerating the pace of commercialization of green hydrogen solutions. The Chief Executive has announced in the 2023 policy address that we will formulate the strategy of hydrogen development in Hong Kong in the first half of 2024, with a view to creating a conducive environment for local hydrogen development. The support and participation of the business sector is of paramount importance to Hong Kong in its transition to a low-carbon economy and achieving carbon neutrality. With agility, resources, and expertise, businesses will play a crucial role as we move forward. Businesses may, in the initial stage, put on trial and experiment with hydrogen energy in their operations, such as those from the transportation and construction sectors, and in the future, spearhead investments in hydrogen-related technologies and infrastructures, such as production facilities, distribution networks, and refueling stations. The government's provided support for all these initiatives. Efforts made by the business sectors go hand in hand with the government. We are committed to creating an enabling environment that fosters innovation and facilitates transition to a low-carbon future. The Interdepartmental Working Group on Using Hydrogen as Fuel, set up in 2022, has been providing technical advice on the launch of trial projects to test out the application of hydrogen energy. As of today, the working group has examined and given agreement in principle in stages to a total of 14 valid applications of hydrogen energy trial projects, including those in the transportation and construction sectors. By adopting hydrogen-powered vehicles, equipment, and machinery, we can assess the viability and benefits of this clean energy source in real-life applications. Such hands-on experience and data collection will inform the further refinement and scaling of hydrogen technologies. Furthermore, we recognize the importance of providing funding support to steer innovation. To this end, the government has allocated a total of $400 million to the Green Tech Fund to support the research and development of low-carbon technologies. Also, $1.1 billion has been injected into the New Energy Transport Fund to support trials of innovative energy technologies that are specifically designed to meet the requirements of the transport industry, thus expediting the low-carbon transformation. The New Energy Transport Fund has so far approved a subsidy amount of $257 million. We have also commenced the preparatory work for legislative amendments governing hydrogen that is used and intended to be used as fuel, with a view to introducing an amendment bill into the Legislative Council in 2025. By establishing a legislative framework, we could lay a solid foundation for local hydrogen development. This, in turn, will catalyze investment, spur innovation, and unlock the full potential of hydrogen as a transformative energy solution for a sustainable future. It is through the collaborative efforts of both the private and the public sectors, aligning their expertise, resources, and shared vision, that we can truly promote the development of hydrogen in the city. This goes for all facets in our transition towards a sustainable, decarbonized future for all. Climate finance. The necessity for a substantial amount of finance to advance global climate goals has long been recognized by the Hong Kong government. Hong Kong's aspirations to become a prominent green finance hub in the region was highlighted on multiple occasions. To address the diverse challenges in this field, the Hong Kong Financial Development Council partnered with Friends of the Earth to organize a side event at the China Pavilion during COP28, focusing on engagement with the international attendees in support of this important cause. Looking ahead, the opportunities are before us. The Climate Action Plan 2050, published in October 2021, suggested that in the next 15 to 20 years, the government would devote about $214 billion Hong Kong dollars to take forward mitigation and adaptation measures to combat climate change. Private enterprises are also expected to invest heavily to take up their shares in the low-carbon transition. The pursuit of carbon neutrality has the potential to create new avenues for business growth. It can foster the advancement of green finance and technology, drive the circular economy, and facilitate reindustrialization. Moreover, it could pave the way for new investments and job opportunities in associated industries. It is imperative for businesses to capitalize on this important opportunity. Global goal on adaptation. The escalation of climate change has led to more frequent extreme weather events, and its impact is evident in Hong Kong. At COP28, parties also agreed on targets for the Global Goal on Adaptation, GGA. They identify where the world needs to get to in order to be resilient to the impacts of a changing climate, and a framework to assess countries' efforts. This GGA framework reflects a global consensus on adaptation targets and the need for support in finance, technology, and capacity building to achieve them. Climate adaptation. Hong Kong is bolstering climate adaptation and resilience. The government has established a climate change working group on infrastructure to coordinate the efforts of the Works Department in enhancing about 350 critical infrastructures. We scale up our capability in coping with extreme weather events by adopting a preemptive and strategic approach using big data and AI. In addition, we strive to ensure that the Gao Yizhou artificial islands in central waters, the northern metropolis, as well as other new development areas, are designed as smart, green, and resilient communities. Regional and global collaboration. Combating climate change is an extremely challenging task, both globally and locally. The regional collaboration involving all sectors and global collaboration in the development of innovative technologies and green finance are pivotal in moving towards a low-carbon transition. Last but not least, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to BEC for organizing this impactful event and your ongoing commitment to advancing business sectors towards carbon neutrality. The stocktaking of climate actions holds great importance for our city, and I wish all of you gaining valuable insights for today's event. Thank you very much.